And we are back for game 2, which is Savoia in Division 1 against ON1. And I'm still with Josh. Hello.
Hello, I'm ready for more gaming.
Yeah, we do have some fancy slides that I can now bring up on this screen. If I click transition, that is. Hopefully that works now. Yeah. We have ON1 with an interesting picture, probably like a holiday picture. I don't know what he's drinking from, like a watermelon
That's a
or
coconut.
coconut. Oh yeah, it's a coconut. I just made
Come
it.
on.
I made it. Okay, the picture was small on my end. I just made it. It looked like a watermelon, but why would you drink from a watermelon? That is that is
That's a
interesting.
great
Yeah,
question.
I mean, there's still a lot of water in there. I might try. Next stream is me webcamming, trying to drink a watermelon. We also had we still need to have Yuli Treisch, one of our casters, eat banana pizza on stream.
Banana what?
Banana pizza, that's like a Swedish thing.
What?
They put
Honestly, though?
Nah, I don't think there's an honestly though. I think it's just once you put banana into something, like you make like a protein shake or something, and it's like you have 90% milk, like 10% banana and or like 5% banana, 5% of the powder you put in there, and it only tastes like banana. But that's how I feel about the pizza. I feel like you're just eating burnt like banana at this point.
No, I mean, here's the thing. If there's cheese on it, it's a no, right? But if there's no cheese, I feel like pizza's kind of fair game because this is just bread. You know, people could put cinnamon and sugar on pizza crust and that'll be good. So
Yeah,
if you put a little cinnamon, a little sugar, a little banana,
no,
I think you got something good on your hands.
it's bread, tomato sauce, banana, and cheese. Unfortunately,
Oh God.
unfortunately,
I tried. I really tried for you.
unfortunately, but yeah, fortunately, that is not what ON1 is having as a drink, banana pizza.
Okay.
But yeah, his favorite characters, Zoro's favorite decks are Sakazuki Law and Purple Luffy. Purple Luffy we're gonna see today from him, but yeah,
Psych.
he has Naruto and One Piece as his favorite anime and manga, and then quote basic as. What are your favorite anime and manga?
One Piece is definitely up there, if not at the very top. But I love, people who know me will know one of my favorites is this manga slash anime called Mysterious Girlfriend X. The anime only got one season, unfortunately, but it's goated, dude. It's one of my favorites.
I have not seen or read that, so
Yeah,
maybe
that's why I said you wouldn't be able to judge me because because you probably would never have seen it before. It's from like 2012 though, so it's not that old, but it's a good one. Highly suggest
I
if you
mean
like slice of life and or weird romance stuff.
not that old is like its definition, because like for you it's not too long ago. For me, it's half my life.
I think you're telling on yourself more than you're telling on me right there. Renee was 8 in 2020 in 2012.
No, I was 10. I'm from 2002.
Good God, that's insane. Well, I mean, you were definitely too young for that then.
Yeah, with 10
But you
years.
can watch it now.
Yeah, I can watch it now. Maybe I have to. Usually I read stuff, and then I mean, but if it has a manga, which probably does,
Oh, the
then
manga's better. The manga's
yeah,
better for sure.
then I could read stuff. Yeah, and his fun fact is poker is his favorite game of all time, so he loves gambling. It's not really gambling. I guess there's skill to it, but we also have our almost world champion, Savoia, Railz0. I don't know if it's Rails or Railz0 or Railz0. I think it.
Or is it Railz0?
I'm pretty sure it's Railz0, but I'm always just calling him Revoya. It's a weird name. It's a weird name. But yeah, he has similar decks. He also has Sakazuki on as his favorite deck, which unfortunately we don't see today. And his favorite character is Sabo. That's a hot take, I think. Maybe it's not a hot take. Maybe me saying that it is a hot take is the hot take.
I could see it. I don't think it's popular, but I could. I think you could easily argue for loving Sabo.
Yeah, probably like in the future when he does more. So far we only had Dressrosa action mostly from him. But yeah, here's some goated ping pong the animation and real as his anime and manga takes. Not as basic as ON1, but I mean basic doesn't mean bad. Like Naruto and One Piece have their standing for a good reason.
One Piece does for sure.
Yeah, Naruto is mostly nostalgia. That is true.
Ping pong is great though. If you haven't seen it, highly suggest.
Yeah, ping pong is really nice. And Real has, I don't think Real has an anime, but Real is a very good manga. And then I can ignore all noise and fall asleep anywhere. I would love to have that talent. I would love to, because if I'm like on a train or a bus and it like traveling, there's no way. I'm never sleeping on that
It
bus.
depends how tired I am, but I can get there. I can get there.
I usually go like we go surfing once a year, and then we go there by bus, and then the bus trip is 24 hours usually. And even if I like don't sleep the night before, don't drink caffeine for like multiple days, so I'm like I should be toast. I go into the bus, I'm awake for 24 more hours. It just isn't possible. It just is not possible.
Sorry to hear that, but yeah, you don't have the special talent of
I
sleeping
don't.
whenever you want. For us who can do it, it's hard to empathize.
Yes. But yeah, we can start right into the game before we fall asleep. It is GP Luffy against Purple Luffy, so a lot of giant and event shenanigans. Checklist should be updated. I'm not.
Matchup overview here. I'm not super familiar with it.
Yeah, the problem here is that ON1 plays a bit of a different type of Purple Luffy playstyle. He plays the Don Quixote package and a lot of defensive events. So, oh yeah, we do see one of them. So in general, usually with GP Luffy, it's pretty good into Purple Luffy because you're very
Is that a
aggressive.
Noro beam sword?
Yes, it's the one that rests something that has like
What's the
one
trigger on that?
ramp one active done.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow, lucky him.
most of these purple events have just a ramp one trigger. But yeah, I mean he would have still gotten to the point he is right now with the Rocinante. But it saves him from taking one more life next turn if he wants to play an 8 drop.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, usually GP Luffy is pretty good into Purple Luffy because aggressive decks usually beat Purple Luffy because he has to start countering early a lot because he takes his own life. But
Right.
this version of Purple Luffy is a lot more tanky, so maybe if the game takes longer and he can grind out, GP Luffy has a better shot at winning. But yeah, we do see a good start from Soroya.
Is there blocker law in this list? Do we know?
The four cost block color, the one that rips cards.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
There is Senor Pink though. And the forbidden combo of 8 cost Katakuri plus the 9
Yeah,
cost Lin.
the forbidden combo. Yeah, this deck still runs it. It's allowed. They only took it away from Blue Purple Luffy, which is probably for the better. But Blue Purple Luffy still going crazy in like the tournaments from this weekend, multiple top eights. I think the both of the NA regionals are still running as we speak, so I don't know who won those yet. Forbidden Jutsu.
So we are swinging 6, currently at 8 Dawn left at 9 Dawn total.
Yeah, so Katakuri or the Flamingo. Or not. Got baited.
I was gonna say Kata seems a little scary just because you're tapped out, but I guess the board isn't that much of a threat. Oh,
Yeah.
was that Ragnarok that we just
Yeah, it
saw?
was Ragnarok to KO Sanji Pudding, which is really strong. But yeah, we would
Yeah.
also not be tapped out because of the Rosinante. So we would have 2 Dawn left, even if we played the Katakuri. We could have defended ourselves, even with Giant, because we would have been at 10, I think. No, 9. No way, by 9 totally. I would have been at 10 Dawn after Katakuri ability. Okay, we find Brochette Blow, which is pretty strong now. Like Gamma Knife at home, but it's minus 3k on the Rosinante, and then you get to trade into it. But it also means that we don't have another Sanji Pudding in hand.
Mm-hmm. And notably, it is not Dawn negative. Hand negative, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean both. Both. You
Right,
don't
right.
lose it on end a card. You do have to be at equal or less Dawn than your opponent, which as GP Luffy isn't too difficult. Especially if your opponent rams like ON1 did. That's not the best game state for Hawaii here. He has no Sanji Pudding. Even if he gets to clear the Rosinante here, he passes with basically just Frankie on board. And ON1 gets to establish 2 bodies maybe. Yeah, you just let it die because defending your leader is easier than defending the Rosinante here.
And so from here, ON1 is just looking to kind of tank out. Is that correct?
Yeah. You have Rosinante, which replaces itself in hand. You have Senior Pink, which grabs back events. You have Queen in the deck list, which also replaces itself in hand. So you have a lot of tools to stay healthy in hand, while also staying healthy in Dawn. With the Katakuri and Doflamingo both ramping Dons.
And Judgment of Hell protecting from 2 attacks.
Yeah, which is also really strong against GP Luffy, because GP Luffy has a lot of 7k buddies. And then if he swings 7, you get to punish him because Judgment of Hell gives minus 3k. So if he then swings 8, you punish him with Giant, because that counters out of it. So he has to commit 9k swings to actually get much value out of his swings, which is a lot. But yeah, right now he doesn't really have anything on the board.
And with heavy event type decks like these, I typically find that like one of the issues is that, you know, we are fighting to stay alive, and it can be hard for us to actually find a way to win the game and find our win condition. What's the win condition here? Is it just developing the big moms and katakuris on board so that we can just keep swinging and restanding and maintaining kind of like an offensive and defensive position at the same time?
Yeah, establishing the 8-cost Dofi or the big moms usually is insane tempo, because the 8-cost Dofi plays 2 buddies, while the 9-cost mom usually removes a buddy and then heals you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have ways to both stay alive but also get closer to killing your opponent, which makes this package pretty strong.
I like it. I like it. How popular is this? I don't think I've seen this build before. I know that this was, the blue purple Luffy build back in Vegas was kind of popularized for a minute there, at least among the believers because of how highly that placed. But are you seeing this elsewhere, or is this an on-one special?
No, I mean it is the popular and an on one special. I would not take that away from him, but Yeah, when OP what 11 or 10 or 10 was the Doflamingo package with sugar. When OP10 released, the idea behind this package was that Purple Luffy usually is a deck if it loses dice roll, it's just pretty bad going second. But
Mhm.
with this build and then an 8 cost in your deck because the 8 cost Katakuri didn't exist yet, if you go second and you ramp with Bonclay, then you get to 8 done, which makes your going second a lot better. So it was kind of to fix your curve. People called it, I think, the Equinby build because he made a YouTube video about it, the OPTCG grinder,
Yeah.
which you also had on your channel before. So yeah, it's kind of called the Equinby build, but I want to rename it to the ON1 build. Starwoody
The
special.
Elijah build.
Yeah, Elijah Equinby. I saw him here top. I think he's playing right now in some of the tournaments. There's like 2 at the same times in NA. I think. I think he's in Top Gun right now. I think he made top 8. Not sure if he's
I
still
believe
playing.
so.
Yeah. But yeah, the main goal of this there was to fix the going second curve because you can still go first. And then because if you take your life, you play Bonclay, you get to 5. Because you double rammed going first, and then you can still take your life the next turn and also play an 8 drop. So you can play the 8 drop both going first and going second, and you have a lot more sustainability than you had before. So that was the main idea of this deck list.
And just as a testament to the tankiness of this versus GP Luffy, we've been at 2 life for quite a few turns now. Granted, Rails has not gotten his Sanji puddings as he would like to see them, but we've been in a kind of stasis here that I feel like I rarely see in GP games.
It's interesting that he uses the stage here, like he replays it and uses another one. But of course, the players don't know each other's deck lists beforehand. But ON1 has 9 cost Marm in it. So if he plays a second Sanji pudding, like in the next turn, for example, he could use the second stage that he now used to make both of them a 7 cost, so both of them cannot be removed from the board. If he doesn't have a stage anymore, then next turn, if he plays Sanji pudding, the 9 cost Marm would remove one of the Sanji puddings.
This does notably put it out of range of. Is it boosted to +4? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's now boosted to +4 because he used stage, then he played a new stage and used it again. So it's +4 instead of +2. Which is why I'm
So it's out
saying,
of range of Ragnarok,
yeah,
essentially.
that as well. Yeah, it's also out of range of Ragnarok.
This is such a searcher combat friendly meta. Those 2 Namis are doing work on Rails' end right here.
Yeah, them being able to swing into the Broncos here is insane. Not having to waste
And
any of the real swings like Leader or Zorojiro into it. But yeah, we probably removed the Zorojiro now.
mhm.
We unfortunately lost our Rosinante, but just imagine this game state with Rosinante still on board. You would have 3 Don, you had 2 life, a lot of cards, a blocker, and then you would
Yep.
feel pretty good. You still feel pretty good about this spot, I think. But yeah, Rosinante would do a lot of work here. But he can play another one next turn. Or Senior Pink.
It is any GP Luffy with this much Dawn is is threatening, it feels. Um, but it's not a bad place to be when you're the type of deck that is so tanky and is running so many events and has access to recursion via Senior Pink to get those back.
Yeah, like getting Giant back to hand from trash is probably the best thing you can do as a purple deck right now. As a purple Straw Hat deck. But it feels like other purple decks just do not exist. Because Giant is only being run in Straw Hat decks. Except
The
for Age
Senior
of...
Pink brings back a 1 cost event, or is
No,
it any purple
it
event?
is a 5 cost purple event. So You could
5 or
take
less?
5 or less, yeah. You could take back
Okay.
Giant, you could take back the Noro Beam, you could take back even the Ragnarok if you wanted to. But it's usually probably a bit too slow, because if you take back Ragnarok, you cannot... Oh yeah, you can play it in the same turn. Yeah, you can.
Here come the Namis
Yeah, those Namis
doing
doing
their
work.
job.
I love the artwork of these Namis, but there's also a new artwork for these Namis in Asia. Also very nice. It has like these old
It's a
school...
PRBO2.
I think it's... No, I think it's some promo. It's
Hmm.
not on PRB, but it's some promo. It looks like old school Oda drawings, but colored.
Oh.
It's pretty nice.
Okay, we're at the double Sanji pudding stage now.
Yeah, now with this many done and Sanji putting somebody playing with 14 done basically each turn.
And this is kind of what I was talking about, right? Which is that we can survive. We're still at 2 life as ON1, but it almost feels like Rails is, for being the aggressor, has a lot more board presence at this point.
That is true, but like I said last turn, we used another stage. So if we don't have a stage in hand this turn, we can only buff one of the Sanji puddings to 7 cost. So another Mom would remove the Sanji pudding that is on board right now. But yeah.
And as a deck that is tanky, as long as you survive a couple of these turns and can swing back at the opponent's board, you have it's a lot closer than it might
Yeah.
seem, even though on my end it feels like maybe the game is getting a little out of hand. But looks like we have another stage, right?
Yeah, this stage is probably the I wouldn't say the decider of the game, but it's definitely very important, because if we lose the Sanji pudding here, we've lost 2 Sanji puddings already. We would have to find the 4th one, and then there would also be 2 9-cost moms on the board with 2 life. So at that point, I would say ON1 looks to be in a winning position. But now we don't really have a target for the 9 mom, so I would assume he just plays something else. That man's game is also something we need to be careful of, because if we rely so much on counter events, but our don't get rested, then that would be unfortunate. I played a lot of GP in like EB format when it came out, but didn't really touch the deck a lot ever since. And then when I played my store championship on the weekend and played that man's game for the first time in GP, I that card is insane.
It really is.
Yeah, because
Hody.
in this game state you play it for free, because there's 2 Sanji puddings on board, so you tap exactly 4 on, you return 2 for leader, you restand 2, get 2 back from the both of the Sanji puddings. So it's like, yeah, for free, I'll use Hody effect. And then it's like, now I'm a 6k
Yeah,
leader and I
it's
still have like 8 done.
disgusting.
Yeah. Do have some... Do have some legs, but I think it's on their end. Or is it me? No, it's not me.
You're still coming through pretty clear, so got that 3 FPS gameplay.
Uh, it's back. Yeah, we didn't miss that the Rosie was played, but yeah, he played Rosie, trashed, got threat, apparently. Yeah, and then passed the turn with Freedom open.
3 up. It's a spooky position. It is a spooky, spooky position right now.
Yeah, 2 Sanji puddings are threatening, 10 Don as well. And then if we use the Deadman's Game, if we have 2 Deadman's Game, which we could have, then okay, yeah, we could have rested the blocker and all 3 Don, but we didn't. So now we got, I guess, punished by Hell's Judgment, which I said earlier. If you swing 7, then this just guards out of it and reduces the other Sanji pudding. But if you swing 8 here, Giant is very strong. But we could also just do Sohachi, maybe restand on and play the Rush Ruffy. Maybe try to go for a game that way.
Yeah, Rails has a lot of options here still.
Yeah, that is the Rush Ruffy. I think the main thing here is that he doesn't really need to go for game. He just pressures a bit
Exactly.
now, and then he's in a fine position with 2 life, a lot of cards in hand, and probably also some amount of Giant and Deadman's Game. Yeah, what could the swings be? I don't think he uses the ability here. Just puts him at a risk for no reason, I think. The Rush Ruffy ability to restand.
Right.
That might just be 2 big swings. But it depends what he has in hand. He has only Rosinante, Mom, and like the Queen on the board. So if he has 2 Giants or something, a lot of 2Ks, then he could use the ability. But yeah, we see him not using it. He just swings a 7.
He hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't swung with the Namis either at the sugar, so I'm wondering maybe he's keeping those as options. Interesting high level play stuff that I think about. Like if he hasn't swung with the Namis yet, I imagine there's intent behind that, leaving him up as almost secondary threats.
Yeah, because if you leave up the Namis, then let's say your opponent gives you a weird amount of counter, then you can start poking at their hand. Like if this
Exactly.
is not giant or it's just like, I don't know, 3 1Ks, then yeah, but now we use one of the Namis.
Mm-hmm.
Also good showing of sequencing because a lot of people they plan out their turn and it's like, okay, I can swing 6 7, so they start 6. But if you swing the 7 first, your opponent has little info about your last swing, so you cannot really take it because then there could be Uswachi in the big swing or something. And then yeah, now he already countered the
Here
big
comes the
7
Nami.
swing, and then
Yep.
he has to guard off the cheaper swings as well. When he could have maybe guarded out of the cheaper swings if we started with them and took the 7.
Mm-hmm. Those are the little details that are just so intentional that I think they make a big difference in the long term in games like this. And you just squeeze a little bit more value, and over time it adds up.
Yeah, especially stuff like sequencing, lethal, like mapping out your turns and your swings correctly is definitely where you gain the edge against like newer players or more inexperienced players. A very good tool to learn all of that is the masterclass by Flash, which is like 3.5 hours long, which almost everything you kind of need to know. Have you seen that?
I have, yeah.
That is a very good source of info.
It's one of the best beginner resources out there, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
And not even beginner, I think, is underselling it, because you can be an intermediate level to low high level and still not know all of it.
For sure, and it's also just a good refresher sometimes. Like we see
Hmm.
Judgment of Hell used on the other side now. A card that is very popular because Zoro does exist. Yeah, but this spot is a bit difficult because we need to find a way to close the game as ON1. We also need to find a way to survive probably in the next turn because there's 2 Sanji Puddings and a Restand Luffy already on board. So a lot of threats. And Usohachi could be coming down as well. Or he just swings the queen.
Hmm.
so no more Usohachi needed.
And as you do start swinging at GP Luffy at this point, when he's at that 1 life threshold, it's riskier too, because then you're enabling the restand on the 6 cost Luffy secret rare, just letting him do that for free essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it looks like the plan here to survive is just to keep as much Dawn standing as possible and try to counter out of the next turn. Buy yourself 1 more turn to.
Interesting from Revoy that he does counter the 6 from Queen. So I feel like if you're probably trying to go for game, but so you're gonna use the Luffy ability, but maybe just wants to keep the option to not go for game. Because if your hand is packed with giants and stuff, and you have maybe the 1 cost Robin as well in this turn, being at 1 life with Robin and giants in hand against this board can probably survive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're planning to use the Luffy ability here, you could have taken the last swing and kept the Sanji in hand because you're taking the Zoro from your life now by your own.
It is, yeah. I mean, he gives himself access to an entire new play line this way, where if something were to go wrong, um, he at least has the option to try to go for another turn.
Yeah.
Whereas if he doesn't counter that, he has to win here.
Okay. We see him use the event here. So the 7k from Sanji Pudding first, I guess, just showed that he didn't want to go for game in the first place because we've seen that
Yeah.
event being used.
Mm-hmm.
And ON1 also loses a lot of Don this turn trying to survive because there's no Katakuri on board, there's no 8 cost Dofi on board to give him the Dons back. So we're already down to 6 Don. So if we giant here, then we go down to 4 Don, which makes it even easier to finish, even harder to finish the game next turn from ON1 here. So yeah, so Revoya probably just pokes his hand down, baits the events, and then goes for game the turn after. But that's the giant gameplay.
And yeah, and I think it's also, he's not underestimating the tankiness that On1 has access to, right? Which I think would be easy to do in a matchup like this. Like, surely we can bring our opponent down to almost 0 resources in hand, or try to win the game here, and maybe sometimes that works out, but there's no need when you know you can survive a turn and still
Yeah.
put the opponent under a ton of pressure.
That is true, but now by taking this life, we put ourselves in a position that that man's game now rests 2 of these Don, so we only have 1 Don left. And then the leader becomes 6k after using leader effect, and we still have, what, 9 Don left, so we could swing 15 after using Deckman's game on what is looking like 4 cards in hand, or 3? 4, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you still definitely have the option to just finish the game here,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah, it would only be 1 giant, because if we rest the Don, it's only 1 Don left. 1 giant and 4 cards. It could be 2k, 2k, 2k though, so then we would live. Because if he has Giant and draws 2/2Ks, then he survives. And has 2/2Ks in hand, of course. But that sounds unlikely.
Has he used many 2Ks this game? I don't remember seeing
I
too
don't
many.
think so, but
Maybe that's what Railz is asking right now.
he also doesn't play that many, I think. He only plays... Yeah, he only plays 8, which is for Purple Luffy standards, nothing. Some of these lists play 14. Okay,
I remember seeing at least one double finger come out.
Yeah, this also works. Problem here is now if we have the Noro beam again, we can use it to rest the Luffy. So it is a bit risky, because from the timing it would work. We still have to guard out of this swing though. And we're at 9 right now, and it's... Yeah, we don't have any more counter. Can use Blast Breath to get up to 13. And then there would be 7 coming again, and another big swing. Okay, not that I mean, we have a lot of events on Revoyer's side of. We had a lot of events, but not many like raw counter cards. Yeah, that was game 1. That was game 1. But yeah, we saw that Purple Luffy was quite tanky, even though like he didn't really see the pieces he wanted, like Katakuri and Doflamingo to keep up down. And then his Rosinante died quite early.
It feels like Katakuri in that matchup would be important as well. Like 9-Mom being your main threat on the board for the majority of the game does not seem like a sustainable way to win that matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And Katakuri being able to swing and restand and also getting the Don back is like everything you kind of want.
Exactly.
But yeah, we saw he was quite tanky, even though he missed most of the pieces. So maybe in game 2, if he sees his pieces, he has a he has a few options here. Does Luffy get any kind of support in PRB? Does it utilize the Nami? I don't think so. Maybe it does, the new Nami searcher, because for some reason there's another purple Nami searcher for Straw Hats. I don't think you would use the Nami, because the Nami is a 2-cost. And then if you're going second, like you don't want to go second unless you're on like this kind of build, and he doesn't run that many Straw Hats. So the Nami doesn't really have many targets. And then if you build your deck going first, the 2-cost searcher doesn't really do much. I think in that case Law is just better. Do you have any plans for PRB when that comes out? Any decks you wanna play or test?
Boa?
is there a lot of stuff? Oh yeah, the Jinbei. The Jinbei is in PRB.
There's that. Isn't that Marigold? The Boa Marigold?
Yeah, I think that's OP13, the one that spawns stuff. You mean?
Oh yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think it's OP13. Yeah, but you get
Okay.
you get the Jinbei that searches, and then when attacking bottom's a 1-cost, I think.
That's something. Yeah, no, we're waiting until OP13. What else is PRB?
Yeah, there's the Shiryu card, the new one, the Blackbeard card. Then there is the Ace for BY Luffy that spawns a baby from trash, which is kind of what the deck needs right now. There is the Moria, the 6-drop that plays the 4-cost from trash. So like a mini version of the old Moria, one that's more balanced and leader locked.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and for some reason
Moria seems fun.
a lot of straw hats. So GP Luffy becomes insane after PIB. You have a new searcher, which is insane for the deck. You have the 4-cost Luffy, which freezes the Don, kind of like 5-cost Bonnie, which takes away the opponent's curve. It's like a great 4 Don play. The 4-cost Marco, that's really good. And now wait, rip. Yeah, no more Nami, but it's really good in almost every blue deck. 1 KO blocker draw too. It's kind of insane. Would you play that in Boa?
Probably.
Because that's like the only deck that already draws with leader and then you want to like lower your hand size. So maybe even the Marco is kind of working
And it
against
gives
it.
you, it's like defensive, plus it gives you on demand draw. Like you don't have to block with him early. You can block with him later
Yeah.
on when you're already kind of lower in hand.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like every blue deck just, if they can play it, they play it. Okay, we do see a great start from ON1 here though, but also an insane start from Hiroya. Sanji pudding into Luffy Taro and another Sanji pudding. As good as it gets, pretty much. We all seen his aggro boar list. He'd run anything.
It's true. I just you love the leader. You know, that's what we do when we love a leader and we want to see it find different ways to play because its default play style is like kind of grating when you play it all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny tools in blue that aren't really used that much because mono blue, aside from now Kuzan, wasn't really that good for a while, except for Dofi. But to be honest, Dofi is more like a red deck on steroids.
Yeah,
I don't count that as a mono blue deck.
a design oversight
Yeah, it's
that they
not.
had to correct after the fact.
It's not the blue that I fell in love with when I started playing the game with Blue Crocodile and Ivankov. Maybe OP14 Warlord set. My take on the Warlords like leak that we got is that the Warlords are gonna be yellow. Because in PRB there's this Kuja Pirates Warlords Boa Hancock that is yellow, and then in OP11 we have an 8-cost Doflamingo that's a Warlord, and OP12 that's yellow. But yeah, going back into the game. No stage, so Sanji Pudding leaves the board.
We do get to send a Sanji pudding to life with the big mom, which is nice, and we have a Kata on the board. So both players kind of seeing the nuts here. It looks like,
Yeah.
and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top once all the dust settles.
Yeah, it's really interesting because if GP Luffy sees the nuts, usually it's unstoppable by almost every deck in the game because the value is just, yeah, and there's another Sanji Pudding. We draw a card.
Oof.
Now we get like 4 Don back. We basically played Sanji Pudding for 1. Sanji Pudding
That's the
just
kind of
does
thing.
everything.
It hurts to watch that kind of play. Just so devastating.
Yeah, that was me and my storage now. I'm a dirty high roller as well.
Must be nice to high roll and be good at the game.
Yeah, when you see like GP Luffy is not the easiest deck, especially in like rough situations where you don't have easy access to cards that recur Don, then it gets tricky. But when you see everything, the deck just feels very smooth and I would say almost plays itself. Mihawk for 1 Don better. Yeah, Mihawk and Smoker for 1 Don. Where your restand 7 Don. It's also kind of crazy.
Giant coming out here. Trashing a sugar.
Hmm.
I know Railz running some defense. boosting up those Sanji puddings to try to protect them.
Well, if you don't have a second stage yet, never mind.
There it is.
I spoke that into existence, basically. I was
They are
about to
still
say,
Ragnarockable, but
yeah,
that's a good portion of the turn that you're giving up to do that.
yeah. 9 mom here on the Sanji pudding would be a lot better, and then you can hopefully try to grind out the away from this game. But now it's gonna be difficult. But yeah, we have a love story in chat. Shout out to Joshua, by the way. I learned how to play the game thanks to him. And also his Discord is how I met with Rene. Yeah, I kinda adopted him. And then he's also playing in the league. He's in Division 4.
Shouts out Asakura, welcome to the game, and glad to have helped you to find Renee, the homie, via my online presence.
Yeah, at some point I spawned on your purple channel in your Discord.
I remember that. I
And
remember
then,
that.
yeah, and then he was asking a lot of Reiju questions, and then we kept talking. Now he's also playing in the league.
I'm gonna be the next Asakura. I'm gonna be asking you all the questions.
For Reiju.
Maybe not about Reiju, just about the game.
Not. I need more people that I can bait into playing Reiju.
That was my first deck.
Your
Fun
first deck
fact.
was Reiju. I know you mentioned
Yeah.
you played it before. I didn't know it was your first deck. It's goated.
Yeah, I love the character. And the art was so amazing. The alt art on that OG.
The leader or the character Aldard?
The leader one.
Oh yeah, the leader.
Both actually.
Yeah, but I wanna upgrade my Reiju Aldards to the PRB ones. I just like the artwork already looks good, and then I'm not. I don't want to pay the price to just have like this in a new artwork when I already have a good artwork.
The full art baby Reiju.
Yeah, that one is
Gorgeous.
Yeah, but the babies are kind of fake. I'm not paying like 30 euros for one of these babies, only for them to be on the board for like 1 second and then disappear. Don't mention the stage though. That will.
A practical man.
I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't have stages. I'll get flamed for it. I'll have the altered stage. Okay. Giant on Luna. Yeah, Luna seems pretty meaningless in this matchup.
We have our giant off occurring now.
But the Battle of Giants and Don, usually ON1 would win here. Because for GP, Luffy Giant actually feels like a cost sometimes. Because when you use Giant on like 7 Don, you only go back to 7 Don.
Yeah, it's really not costing you much if you're going from 10 to 8 because you'd be at 10 the next turn anyway, but when you use it at something like 7, you're not actually making Dawn progress.
Okay, we got rid of one of them Sanji puddings via combat and one is stuck in life still, so the board looks very good here from ON1, I think. I like this board a lot. You have 2 Rosinantes, so you have like infinite Don, and then you have 2 big buddies that keep pressuring to go for game.
We get a free block here on the Sanji pudding, and there goes the 4th Sanji pudding with the Luffy Taro.
Yeah, but good news, there shouldn't be another one.
There shouldn't.
There shouldn't be another one.
Unless you're running a special top tournament deck.
Yeah, don't ask Jonas, but there shouldn't be another one. Already 2 months, looking forward for more for this. Thank you for the Prime sub, Asakura. Thank you. Thank you for supporting and playing.
$9K headed, I'm assuming at life.
Yeah, 9 is an awkward number to swing at the Rosinantes. I would assume it's that life. And then we gianted 1K, so our hand doesn't.
Is that the last giant for ON1?
It might be, but it's never the last one when you're running senior pink.
Pink, yeah, pinkable. And a 2K, so all the offense getting essentially negated there, which is wild. And this is kind of a similar situation that On1 is in to, I feel like, a lot of the blue purple Luffy stuff, where it's like you just slowly, now you have this board that's going to get value from its swings every turn. You can never really swing at it because he has a lot of stuff to protect it, and it just feels like it can get out of hand.
Yeah.
That's the threat, at least. We'll see
Yeah.
how well it ends up working
The
out,
only
but
difference is that the leader doesn't draw 2 cards a turn.
exactly, exactly. But
It's a
I
bit.
mean, with those Senor Pinks,
Yeah.
you're kind of drawing 2 cards a turn in a way.
That is true. And you're establishing a body. Senior Pink is a very underrated card because it's a 5/6, but you get to restand it on, so it's a 4-cost 6K, so Vanilla's deadline that can pretty much get you the best cards in the game from your trash.
Mm-hmm.
And has an goated artwork as alternate art. Which I don't think On1 has in his deck. At least we haven't seen it so far.
It's the baby one? Is that the
Yeah.
cartoon baby?
Yes.
10K.
It must be so funny to the people that just play the card game and haven't seen the show. Look at that art. It's like, why is this dude a baby?
Perverse.
Yeah. But if you know, you know.
That's a good interview for sure. Like people who don't watch the show, the context-free ones who are just,
Yeah.
what am I looking at? And another Katakuri comes down.
Yeah, we have 4 restandable blocker. Can restand the Lin, which doesn't do much, but we can. And 4 Don every turn for free. So yeah, this spot is very good for one. But if we lose from this spot, it's probably not a good sign for this matchup. I mean, both players kind of saw everything, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Why are there 4 Dawn up? Sorry.
The Rocinantes.
They give you 2?
Yeah, they give you 2 Don each. If you're 7 or more Don, you can restand 2 Don at the end of your turn.
God, I didn't realize it was 2. For some reason, I thought it was 1. I'm not a big Rosinante experimenter. Maybe I should be.
Maybe you should, yeah. Yes, it's usually funny combinations of decks you can run by just slotting in Rosinante. Very strong card. Great artwork.
For 5 Dawn, that's great.
Yeah, it's a 5/6, and then the unplay you trash an event and draw 2. Also insane. Okay, we do swing 7, which gets blocked. I feel like if we had Hell's Judgment here, we would have used it instead of using the block. I think it's probably more value, because then we could have stopped this 7 from happening. But we are probably still very far away from being dead here. Yeah, we just blocked this one as well. Gotta try Cruise or Red Purple Luffy. Yeah. Red Purple Luffy with like 10 giants.
He takes the first. And Rails only has, what, 7 active Dawn?
Yeah, 7 active Dawn, but once he returns 2, gets 2 back. So, and his leader is then the 6K. So, math wise, technically 10 Dawn right now.
Yeah. I'm thinking more
Yeah.
about the Rush Luffy.
Yeah, problem with Rush Luffy in this spot is that if you use it and restand it, which is free now, but the restand happens before the counter phase. So if he has the Noro Beam Sword, he can rest it again. It's kind of like playing against Bonnie. When you play against Bonnie and restand the Rush Ruffy, then Bonnie ability can just tap it down again. Okay, and now we have Hell's Judgment. So that is very strong because it
Oh yeah,
ends up
the
being
double.
countering for the turn.
Yeah, it basically doubles its amount, and that's scoop.
Yeah, from now on you don't have enough swings to finish the game.
So a very good showing from On1 there. Uh, if if GP can draw that well and you're still winning, that's a good sign.
Yeah, that is a very good sign. I mean, he saw like both players saw everything, but then the on one just ended up grinding out the GP, which is usually Luffy's weakness. So this decklist kind of fixes that.
And it's kind of exactly as we said, right? Like the Rosy Nantes and um the Katakuris were just doing so much work there in the end game with the restand. It's just so hard to crawl back in just because the amount of value that you're generating every turn. You do not get access to that for free via your leader the way that you Blue Purple Luffy does, but anytime you're regenerating resources every turn like that, it's really good for you. And with again access to the recursion, you get the Senor Pinks, it's just so hard to climb back into the game.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder what this decklist is weaker than into, because if it's better into aggressive decks, then I guess it's weaker into those decks where you want you to be aggressive yourself. So if we think about the purple Luffy against blue purple Luffy, if you're trying to stall out the game against blue purple Luffy, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah,
Where usually Luffy can be very aggressive into purple Luffy with tools like anti blue purple Luffy, too many Luffys, with like Luffy Taro into another body and then 9-cost Luffy the turn after. That's usually where purple Luffy beats the blue purple Luffy. So yeah, I imagine that one would be a weaker matchup than you usually expect it to be.
would be curious to see that play out though, just because um, now that Blue Purple Luffy doesn't have access to the Katakuri, it's like the offensive options there aren't as hard hitting. Although the 2 9Ks in a turn is still difficult, but
That's true. And maybe now it would be better. We had this matchup before when there was still 9 Mom and Katakuri and stuff, and then it was a bit painful to watch. Because then Purple Luffy with the Don Quixote engine just tried to do what UP Luffy does as a leader. So it was a bit sad to watch. All this effort and then you still get outgrinded. But yeah, with the new deck, maybe it works better. But the main problem with UP Luffy was still that you ramped so fast to 10, then you play two bodies, and from that point on, if you just spam Namis, even if you don't heal, you just spam Namis and keep 5 down up, you're pretty hard to kill because you draw 2 cards a turn, you have Giant, so you don't lose any cards. And then Nami also doesn't really lose any cards, so that is still true.
you just have to grind out their Gum Gum Giants. They have 4, you have 8.
That's true.
It's that easy. Jokes, by the way.
I mean, some blue purple Luffy lists are on the Doflamingo package as well now. So if Luffy on Dofi package and Yuppie on Dofi package are playing against each other, I would probably bet on the Yuppie Luffy to win that. You just do
Well, and
this same thing.
we can't forget Blue Purple Luffy has access to Banish Croc. So
The Banish Crook and Blue event list that you played. I saw, I think, yeah, it was Jackson, the Clyde TCG. He played in uh Kisime or something. I have no idea what the name of that place is, but I think he played Whitesnake in his UP Luffy list this weekend. So you're kind of a trendsetter.
really?
I'm pretty
Huh.
sure he did.
No shot.
So you're kind of a trendsetter.
How are you the first person to tell me this? This is crazy. Jackson taking inspo from my list.
At least that's what they said on stream. But when I was watching the stream, I might give fake information. But to be fair, I think with this new, like you can't heal anymore, and if you spec a bunch of Rayleighs, Whitesnake is pretty good because
Yeah, for
before
sure.
before like Nine Mom left, Rayleigh was like pretty decent matchup, but now like not as great anymore. I opened his Twitter real quick, but there's no list yet, so I cannot tell you if I was lying or if I was being lied to. But yeah, I would see how it makes sense to run it.
So ON1 going down to 1 life here versus a boosted Sanji Pudding. Definitely a little spooky.
Yeah, he always has it. That's why he was world second.
We get a Kata.
Yeah, so ON1 is kind of where he wants to be again. So now is the question: do we? Yeah, we do play
Here we
Luffy,
go.
Kario, and
Here we go.
Sanji Pudding again.
But in this situation, it's like, when do you stop seeing your nuts is when when it gets difficult, you know?
Yeah. The problem is that once you start going as GP, like you always see your pieces because if you, let's say you mulligan and you don't find your searchers and stuff, then it's like horrible. But if you find your first Sanji Pudding, and then especially in this matchup where your opponent rams, you get to draw off the first one, then you have stage that draws, and then maybe you find Zorojiro, and that one finds the next Sanji Pudding, and that one also draws again. So once you
Yeah.
start going, you have so many ways to keep going that the deck is very consistent. Yeah, pretty much just what I just said. And there's the
Okay,
next
so
one.
1 card to essentially get out of 2 swings here. But Rails with the full board.
Yeah, and here we're already on 1 life where we were at 2 life the last game, so it's gonna be more difficult for ON1 to stay alive.
Oh, unless the big mom's coming here.
Yeah, we
It's
only
looking
have
like it.
1 stage down, so there's 9 mom here. We lose the second Sanji Pudding. I'm getting like, not sure if it's correct word, like an ick from the way ON1 plays with his Don.
Why is that?
I don't know, the way he doesn't like do this like ADHD hand shuffling, which a lot of people do. He just puts them together like kind of weirdly sometimes. There was a big discussion on Twitter once I saw about this hand shuffling, how it's annoying and distracting, and people shouldn't be doing it.
I don't do it, but only because I can't.
It's
I'm
like,
not dexterous enough.
it's a weird thing because I started like One Piece was my first card game as well because like just started it because of the game, because of
Mhm.
the show, not the game.
The show.
And of course I didn't do it to the beginning as well, and then it just somehow happened. And now I do it when I think, even like without really noticing it. I don't know, it might be an illness, but
You have to
yeah,
practice it, is the thing.
I don't feel like, I don't think it just happens, I think.
It just came naturally to you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't sit down and practice my shuffling. I heard once that that could be like completely wrong. That in Yu-Gi-Oh people do it because once you draw cards or reveal cards, and then it's important at which point in which, like, if your opponent knows which card is in your hand, they can target it and stuff. I have no idea. I could be talking nonsense, but that's why they keep on shuffling you their hand so fast once they reveal something,
Interesting.
so people cannot track where the card is. They're just seen. Because let's say I don't know, you search a card and you put it on top of your hand, and then it never leaves the top of your hand, and your opponent has a way to just say, okay, this card I want gone, and you kind of need
Yeah.
to quickly shuffle. But I don't know if that's true. Someone told me that. There could be conspiracy theories here. But yeah, this board state is we have two Luffy Taros, we have two Sanji Puddings, and we have Zorojiro in the middle. So trying to survive the turn after this one's probably gonna be difficult. Lots and lots of swings.
It's a Hell's Judgment.
Yeah. But we did see last game that ON1 found a way to survive from this board state, and he does have Katakuri still has Rosinante and like 7 cards in hand, so maybe he gets there. Because if you have another Lin here, he gets rid of one of the Sanji Puddings again, gets one more life again. Could work.
That's with 3 Dawn up.
Yeah, it could be Giant and maybe Hell's Judgment himself. Because Hell's Judgment here is also pretty strong for Savoya. Having an 8 and a 9 cost body on board, and he's probably swinging at. I mean, he might swing at the Sanji Pudding, but if he has the Lin, he won't. But if you swing an 8 into leader and he gets 2 Hell's Judgment out of it, it's pretty strong. Then you don't need to Giant at -2, you only lose 1 Don. In my list, I played Bargor, because if you have Thunder Bargor here, you even ramp it on, which in GP feels illegal at this point.
And I mean, the other thing that I want to say too is shouts out to Rails for these swings, because if it's me, you're going against a list like this that you know is running Nor Beam Sword, that you know is running Gum Gum Giant, basically always has a way to counter what you're doing. It's like, what's the first swing? I would be stuck trying to make that decision forever.
Yeah, usually you just wanna use like the least you wanna make the least commitment possible, but in this case, if you look at the board state, he's probably gonna rest your second Luffy Taro. So if one Luffy Taro gets rested anyways, so even if you start with Luffy Taro here, then it doesn't matter. It's like playing against Bonnie, for example, where people
Yeah.
always just start with like a big swing. But let's say you have two big swingers, one of them gets rested anyways. So you can't start just with the small swing like a 6k, because you still have the other big swing for later.
A double 2K counter coming out. 9K at the Sanji Pudding has to let it go.
Which is telling that he doesn't have Lin. Yeah. Will he play Senior Pink here, or will he play another Rosie? There's another Rosie. Or just trashes Giant. That's a move.
And that's a scary board from ON1 now.
Yeah,
with 5 Dawn up.
5 Dawn up, a blocker, 1 life, and we just trashed a Giant, so we're kind of disrespecting
and
our
took out a
opponent.
Sanji Pudding. Yeah, it's...
And suddenly the game that looked pretty good for Railz0 after playing Luffy Taro, then multiple Sanji Puddings, looks very good for ON1.
Really, really cool strategy. Really, really cool deck.
Why am
Cool
I
play
getting,
style.
I'm getting baited to make bad comments about coffee by his good gesture.
It's right there on the screen. They're teasing you.
I'm punching my monitor.
Rene punching air after seeing coffee appear on the screen. Known coffee hater.
Yeah, we should have. Your response was kind of nice when chat, or when I call a coffee a social experiment. Your response was pretty fitting. I think everyone in chat would agree.
That you're the social experiment.
Yeah, I am the social experiment. Yeah, but we saw
human rage
double.
bait.
Yeah, I am human rage bait. I'm the social experiment. We did see double Deadman's game here, which is insane because we rested like almost all the Don and the blocker. but 2 Don with Giant being a thing is still a lot.
And ON1 countering manually like a Neanderthal here. But if that's what it takes.
Okay, 2K1K.
Oh, yep, again.
After all the cycling and stuff with Giants and the Rosinante's on play and stuff, you would assume your opponent probably only has counter in hand.
Yeah.
Okay, he takes the 8.
Takes the 8k.
What
Still
could
has
that
2
be?
Dawn up though, right?
Yeah, so you could swing 8-9. Could probably make it a big swing. And the 6. So this is 11. We need Giant 2K1K. Then we only need a 2K after. Him thinking about his options makes me think that he has it. Oh. Okay, now
Ooh.
we only need a 2K from the 4 cards we draw of 2 Giants. And we're
Renee, they're
pitching a
saying
1K.
you're an AI program to talk about Reiju. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it might be true. It might be true. And then, yeah, ON1 counters out of the last 6K with a 2K, and Ravoya scoops.
Wow. Unbelievable. Really cool display there. Congrats to ON1 for that. Loving what I'm seeing.
It was it's a nice deck list. Always cool to see, cool to watch, yeah, and then also interesting what it does. Like it changed the matchup completely. Where usually it's like a pretty bad matchup for Luffy. Suddenly it's a pretty good matchup.
And it's weird the kind of reversal that it's able to pull off where it's like it looks like you're in trouble early and then all of a sudden you have a absolute chokehold on the game.
Yeah, but that means that now I can pull up the Division 1 score on the stream. And Savoy is pretty down bad with his 3 points. Still in 7th. Close before Dietmar, because Dietmar has lost more games, but last season Savoy won and he went like 6-0 to begin with. And now he's pretty down bad, but maybe he turns around in the in his last few matches.
Proving that even the best fall down sometimes.
That's true, but we have a lot of good players in Division 1, and who's this guy in first? Upstar. Yeah, Upstar's also in chat. Who's this guy in first? But yeah, ON1 also quite low, because both of them were, like ON1 and Revoya were like first and second for a lot of the season 2, and now they're pretty down bad. So maybe not a meta that fits them quite yet, but I know Revoya is gonna come back now that Saka's unbanned. It's kinda his leader. I know your coordinates, René. Help. But yeah, we have one more game today, which is gonna be me against Tinoy, which I can also quickly pull up on the screen.
And this is Division 2, right?
Yeah, I'm a Division 2 Andy, because Dietmar got my spot. But I'll come back. I'll come back. Come watch René lose.
I
You will
believe
see.
in
You
you.
will see. We will see. Yeah, I'm playing Rayleigh. Yeah, so I'm playing the deck you said you're practicing a lot right now.
I got a lot to learn from you.
Uh, I'm not sure. Maybe there's definitely a few misplays in there, but interesting games.
Put your lists in. Put your lists in. Give us that exclamation point command.
Yeah, we'll have that after a short break. After we will back, like you guys have to wait for the list.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Bye bye.